It's a St. Louis tradition, and there's a new season. It's the Muny. That's next on City Corner. I'm Steve Potter, and welcome to City Corner. Well, from Hello Dolly to Billy Elliot, there's something for everyone this season at the Muny, and we'd like to welcome the Muny's Publicity Manager, Larry Pry. Hi, Larry. Welcome to the show.
It's great to be here. Thank you.
Boy, what would spring be in St. Louis without the Muny?
It's a tradition, 96 years this year, and the city started it, and we're just continuing it. It's a wonderful place.
Now, I think you started, I was talking to you earlier, you started going to the Muny as a teenager, I guess?
Right. I was 16 or 17. I took my mom as a Mother's Day gift for her, for her first show.
Well, I was about 10. And, you know, those are some of the greatest memories I have. Both my parents grew up here, but we were always home for the summers. Mm-hmm. So we went to the Muny every summer. I had an uncle who had box seats back in the day. And I'd never really experienced anything like it. And in fact, there aren't that many venues like the Muny to begin with.
We're very rare. We are the largest outdoor musical theater. We're the only one in the country of this size that actually produces musical theater. So it's a treasure that the city has.
Mm-hmm. And what's your function as publicity manager exactly? Do you send out press releases?
I
must do more than that.
I do press releases, but my job, I have the best job. I get to talk about the Muny. And I'm out in the public just telling people what's going on and answering questions. And I love to tell the things that people don't realize, because so much goes on at the Muny besides what you see on stage, how to get ready, how we, you know, the new things we're installing and all of that. So I love to talk.
All right.
That's what I do.
I'm going to pick your brain here in a few minutes.
I love it.
Before we do that, let's run down the season really quickly,
Great.
Just briefly, and we'll talk more in the second part of the program about that. But the Muny season this year kicks off with Billy Elliot, June 16th through June 22nd.
Mm-hmm. Based on the movie Billy Elliot. It's about that little boy who grows up boxing and discovers dance and ends up making everybody happy in his town.
Then, June 25th through July the 2nd, Tarzan.
Tarzan, it's that story we know. Tarzan meets Jane. They fall in love and swinging all over the Muny stage. It's great.
A lot of swinging at the Muny.
A lot of flying and swinging.
Here's one I'm really looking forward to, July 7th through 13th, Porgy and Bess.
Porgy and Bess has not been at the Muny in a long time, and so we're excited to bring this tour in.
It's got a lot of great music in it.
It really does. It's, you know, summertime. It's all the Gershwin, so it's fabulous.
Then the Addams Family, July 14th through the 20th.
We all grew up snapping our fingers along with that song, and this is featuring a day in the life of the Addams Family.
Have you seen that?
I have. It is so much fun. It is the funniest show.
Then it's Seussical, July 22nd through 28th. Who didn't grow up with Dr. Seuss, right?
That's exactly it. So this one talks all about Horton, the elephant, and how he's saving the people of Whoville.
Then July 31st through August 8th, Grease. I sure remember when the movie came out.
It's probably the most requested show that we get every year.
Oh, the music's fantastic.
It's a wonderful show, and everybody has done it in their high school, so it's time to bring it back to the Muny.
Then the season closes at the Muny August 11th through 17th. And I'm not just making this, it's one of my favorite shows of all time, for whatever reason, Hello Dolly.
It is such a spectacular show. It's so much fun, and what a better way to end the season than with this big, you know, Broadway-style show.
All right, we'll talk more about the season later and some things connected to that. Mike Isaacson, who's the executive producer and artistic director.
Yes. And
he has been for a couple of years. Last season, Mike was on this program. We talked about the fans. There are these huge fans, they look like almost airplane propellers that are over the audience. Because as you and I know, of going as long as we have, this is a shock to most people. It can be hot in St. Louis.
That's what I've heard. It can get warm in St. Louis, yeah.
Even at night.
Even at night.
And so last year, anyway, there are these new, there used to be fans that would turn on during intermission. And of course, they made a lot of noise, but they really cooled things down. So Mike was talking last year about these new fans that they leave on during the show, and they're virtually silent.
It's called whale fin technology. If you look at the blades, they are severed like whale fins are. So we can run them during the show. and they don't produce any sound that you can hear. And so it's been a game changer for us. You can just feel the steady breeze all evening long. And we've also enhanced the blower system that is in the theater. So air is moving, and that's all it really takes.
And I don't know if you can, do you know how much it really cools things down?
We haven't actually tested it, but
You haven't had a scientist examine it.
exactly, because last year we didn't have to use them that much. It was amazing. It was so cool last year, but we just hosted Webster's graduation, and in the part of the day on that Sunday with all of that heat, we turned those on, and it actually made people comfortable in caps and gowns. So
Yeah, well, that's a blessing.
Yeah, it really
Love
is.
those fans. Also, a couple of new things this year, Larry, I want to ask you about solar panels.
the Muny's going greener. We've always tried to be green, but now we have just installed solar panels on the roof of our rehearsal building. And this is going to really help us take a chunk out of our electricity usage. We'll be
You
able
mean
to.
solar panels just like for lights and things?
To help with our energy usage,
Just
whether
overall.
for lights, for the buildings, however, it's going to go feed into the grid. And they're still, they haven't turned them on yet, so we'll get the actual measurements once that happens. But we're really excited. Kerberg Roofing has basically installed them for us, and we're excited to see what they do.
Well, if the solar panels work as good as the fans, you'll be in great shape.
We're in perfect shape.
Right? And then you have something you call is it a psych wall?
A psych wall.
At first, when I first heard about that, I thought maybe you had a crazy wall. I didn't
Right,
understand that. I didn't understand that.
It's short for cyclorama, and it's a theater term, and the audience doesn't really know it's there. But when you're looking at the stage, the back wall that you see in the back, as last year and before, it was made of wood and very heavy, and took forklifts to move these things. There were 3 of them back and forth, and they had to be adjusted. Now we have a permanent structure. It's like scaffolding that is there with black plastic that covers it. But what it does, it gives us more hanging angles for our lights. We can now install the fly system when, for example, when Billy Elliot flies in the show. That mechanism now is installed as part of this wall. And our audience will see the difference by the technology that we get to use for them. It's going to really enhance the shows.
Mm-hmm. The size of the Muny stage, it's larger than most.
It's the largest stage in the country, next to Radio City.
Is that a blessing or a curse?
Depends who you are. If you are an actor trying to exit stage right and then come right back in on stage left, you curse every second you're running around trying to make that entrance. But for production numbers and production values, it's such a blessing because we can put 100 people on that stage and just blow that number out of the water. Mm-hmm. It's amazing.
Right.
And we can bring a car on. We can bring camels on because our stage is big enough.
Yeah, you've had some interesting things on stage before.
Oh yeah, during Aladdin that we just did, we had 3 camels that opened the show. They just walk across. South Pacific, we bring a Jeep on. During Meet Me in St. Louis, we have a real trolley that comes on.
Well, and because of the size of the productions, often the cast is very large. So if you have a lot of people, and then you're talking about camels and Jeeps or whatever it might be, logistics must be there's probably somebody in charge of that, right?
Yeah.
Coordinating traffic flow must be a job in itself backstage.
Between our stage managers controlling what's going on and off the stage, we have our crew heads that are backstage making sure things are stored in the right places, shuffling back and forth. They know exactly when the actors are crossing. The minute that cross happens, the set piece goes rolling by backstage. It's a production in itself.
How does that work? I'm so curious because the shows are pretty much back to back.
Right.
Right? So I'm just wondering how rehearsal works. I mean, it's not like you have the stage empty for 2 or 3 weeks before opening.
It doesn't happen. What happens is we have one show up and running. For example, Billy Elliot is on stage performing. And then the Saturday night after Billy Elliot closes, we take off Billy Elliot and we'll put on the next show. Rehearse it, take it off, put Billy Elliot back on for their closing night. Now, sometimes we get a break in the schedule where we actually have a day off where we can strike out Billy Elliot and then put the next show on and we don't have to take it off. It all depends on how the shows are scheduled, how the calendar falls, and how it works.
Do the actors ever find that challenging? I mean, this has got to be even, and actors are pros and they deal with all this stuff all the time. But I would think this would be, whatever they're dealing with, it's twice what they normally deal with.
That's pretty much it. It's always fun when you say, then our tech rehearsals from midnight to 5 a.m., And those who
What?
did not know that, their eyes get about as big as yours just did. And they're like, did you say midnight? Sure enough. And so it's an adventure, and that's when usually the critters come out to join us. The raccoons are out and
Is that right, really?
They come out, they're walking out on stage like, hello, because we have to remember, we're in a park. And so they're there for performances, they're there for rehearsals, and we just kind of let them go.
They probably like those cool fans, too.
They do.
Yeah, I remember, there's always funny stories of things that happen when you're performing out of doors. Like, I can't remember who it was someone pretty famous a long time ago. Talked about singing and, a moth might fly in their mouth while they're singing, and you got to keep on going, act like nothing happened. But anything can happen when you're outdoors.
And it happens all the time. The moths, with the spotlights being on the singers, it automatically attracts the moths. And so we just call it extra protein for the day, and because they literally just eat the bug, keep on going. Last time we did Fiddler on the Roof, Tevi was singing that love song to his daughter, just, I love you, I love you. And this little possum just walked out on stage, sat there and stared at him. His eyes got this big. She had no idea what was going on. He finished the song, the possum just turned around and walked right back off.
Wow.
It just wanted its moment. So
I was thinking about the Heat, too, and it was the first year, last year, for the fans. But it was the season before that Jennifer Holliday was there for Dreamgirls.
Right.
And I remember going that night. In fact, I interviewed her on the radio, so I talked to her before. But my point being, that St. Louis was having a horrible heat spell the week of that show, and it was like, I want to say 100 degrees at night. That must be an exaggeration, but not much of one.
It was pretty close. That was the hottest summer on record in forever.
Some of those costumes, they looked like, they were heavily covered.
Yeah, what I don't know if the audience realizes is those costumes are real. If we're doing Titanic, they're in real fur coats. When you're doing Fiddler, they're in wool, even though it's 100 degrees outside. So the actors are wearing authentic clothes. We try to make them as cool as possible, but the minute they walk off stage, they're dropping layers to cool down.
Yeah.
And the trick is they don't go inside. They just stay outside. Don't go in and out of the air conditioning because it makes it worse.
Right,
on
wow,
them.
that's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, we need to take a little break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the season, Larry, in a little more detail, and we have some footage of one of the shows to see and some other things to discuss. And you were teasing me about knowing stuff that no one else knows.
Right.
So I was going to pick your mind a little bit.
Let's go.
For that. All right. We'll be back. We're talking about the Muny's new season, and we'll have more City Corner right after this.
Hi, my name's CJ. A few years ago, my father became seriously ill. I did what I could do before he passed, but it took its toll. I lost my job, my house. I'm getting back on my feet, but I don't know when there'll be food on the table. How'd I do, CJ?
We could be twins.
Well, cousins, maybe.
Play a role in ending hunger. Visit feedingamerica.org/hunger and find your local food bank.
If you drive buzzed, it could cost you around $10,000. You'll face major legal fees, major fines, and steep insurance penalties. You could lose everything. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving.
G-Morning, sunshine. Wakey, wakey. Text me. Are your parents home later? We can hang. LUV, love you. JK. Holla back. Holla back. Holla back. Are you with your friends? That's lame. We're in a huge fight right now. XO. What'd you dream about? Something I did. Are you on your way to the mall? I'm lonely. Nude pics. Send me some. Text me.
I'm Steve Potter, and welcome back to City Corner. Our guest today is Larry Pry. He's the Publicity Manager for the Muny, and they're about ready to begin their new season. And we're going to run down that season again, Larry, but before we do that, I just wanted to follow up on something we were talking about in the first segment. We were talking about how hot it was a couple of summers ago when Jennifer Holliday was here for Dreamgirls. And I just want to ask you a question, because I've always been so curious. I interviewed Jennifer Holliday 2 seasons ago, right before Dreamgirls opened at the Muny. And that's the first time I met you, because we went to the hotel where she was staying, which was the Chase Park Plaza,
Correct.
to record a radio interview. And just sort of as a fluke, I knew I didn't think she'd been to St. Louis before, didn't know much about it. I took her a piece of gooey butter cake, which of course originated in St. Louis, and if you're not from St. Louis, most people don't even know what it is.
Right.
So I didn't do this during the interview, but afterwards I just said, I want to welcome you to St. Louis. Here's a piece of gooey butter cake. It's a big deal here. I hope you'll try it and enjoy it. And of course, she thanked me for it, and she was very gracious and walked away. So I'm just really curious, do you know if she tried it?
She tried it. Because the next day she came into rehearsal and goes, where can I get more of that cake? So we had to go to the Hill and buy her a gooey butter cake. And then one of her dressers actually bakes gooey butter cake. So she had some in the dressing room as well.
No kidding.
She loves gooey butter cake.
So if she has an addiction problem to gooey butter cake, it's sort of my fault.
It's all your fault, Steve.
Well,
Yeah.
And I understood she had a great time here in St. Louis and even stayed longer than she needed to.
She took a week's vacation and just stayed at the hotel and just had a ball. The actors who come to St. Louis, they love the city. They love our audience. And St. Louis is a wonderful place to perform. We are a wonderful audience. So that's how we can get people like Jennifer Holliday and the stars of this year's season to come here, because, you know, it's hard work working at the Muny. So
I'm sure you treat them well.
we treat them best we can.
I'm sure you do, and they deserve it. I've seen a couple of shows in the new season. I've seen a couple of them once. I've seen a couple of them multiple times. A few of them I've never seen at all. What goes into choosing a season?
The first thing we do is survey the audience, and we ask them, what do you want to see? And they fill out those surveys.
You really take that into account?
We take that heavily into account because they're the ones who buy the tickets. So we throw out all these options to them. We rank the top 15, and then we see what's available. And then we look and see what's new that we can actually get access to. Something that closed on Broadway is now available. Can we get it? And we do.
All right, let's run down the season in a
Great.
little more detail. The season at the Muny begins June 16th with Billy Elliot. Now, I saw the touring company, it was probably 3 or 4 years ago when it came through town, and it's a great show.
It's a beautiful show. It is such a warm, family-loving show. It's about love. It's about a little boy trying to overcome adversity, and he discovers dance. And the young boy who's playing our Billy Elliot, Tate Biesinger, he's 11 years old, has performed the role in London, and he's so excited to come to St. Louis and to come to the Muny. He's heard of us, and he was so excited that it worked out in his schedule. He's actually from Utah, and so he'll be flying in to St. Louis to recreate the role for our audience.
And we have another cast member, I think.
Yeah, Emily Skinner, Broadway, I like to call her a Broadway diva without the attitude. She's so powerful, such a powerful actress. And she'll be playing the dance teacher. And so it's such a wonderful, wonderful cast.
That's Billy Elliot, June 16th through 22nd. Then Tarzan, June 25th through July 2nd. I've never seen the show. I don't even think I've ever seen there was a Disney movie.
There was an animated movie, which the musical was based off of.
I remember the old Johnny, what's his last name? Westmuller?
Johnny Westmuller, I think.
Something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Way back in the day. But so I don't know anything about this.
It's still the same story. You know, the little boy, baby gets shipwrecked and is raised by the apes. And then Jane comes on safari, they meet, they fall in love, they're trying to kill the Englishmen, are trying to kill the apes, and Tarzan has to decide, girl, family.
I think there are a couple of cast members you want to mention.
Yeah, Nicholas Rodriguez, who is playing Tarzan. He actually played the role on Broadway. He is not new to the Muny. He was actually our guest Stone in Beauty and the Beast the last time we did it. And he is a wonderful performer. And Kate Rockwell is playing Jane. This is her first time coming to the Muny. She was in Bring It On, the musical that came through St. Louis and then eventually went to Broadway.
Right.
So she was one of the stars of that. So she's excited to come as well, and we're so excited for our audience.
Interesting. There are a lot of actors that have played the Muny over and over and over again.
They just love coming back. Yeah. If they tell their agents, if I can do it, I want to go.
July 7th through 13th, Porgy and Bess, and with with Gershwin, with the music of Gershwin, it's just unbelievable.
You can't miss with this show. Now, we're breaking our mold with Porgy and Bess because this is a tour. This is actually the Broadway tour that is out. And we produce all of our own shows. But when we realized no one in St. Louis was going to produce this tour, we grabbed it because it's one of those shows that our audience needs to see and the people of St. Louis need to see it.
Well, let's share some of it with our audience. We have a clip
Oh, great.
from Porgy and Bess. Let's look at that now. And I want to point out that USA Today called Porgy and Bess an exuberant reaffirmation of enduring brilliance.
Yes, it's one of those classics. So, and there's actually a St. Louis native in this tour. Kingsley Leggs got his start when he was a young boy at the Muny, and he's actually in the tour.
We have the Addams Family, July 14th through 20th.
It's one day in the life of the Addams Family. Wednesday Addams meets a normal boy.
Is there much snapping going on in this? Or?
There's some snapping, lots of dancing, lots of comedy, and a normal boy enters their life, and it all goes crazy from there.
Yeah, there was always one normal person in the Addams Family, right?
Exactly.
Right,
so
yeah. Just one.
One.
Seussical, July 22nd through 28th.
I'm so excited for this show that our audience gets to see Dr. Seuss come to life on the Muny stage. It's the perfect setting for this show, and the kids are going to fall in love. It's a great way to introduce your kids to theater.
Then on July 31st through August 8th, I'll tell you why I'm laughing, it's Grease. And Sandy Stevenson, who is here at STL TV and who I work with, wants to audition for Grease. I know it's a little too late this
It's a little
season.
too late, sorry, but it's...
But I told her I would ask.
Yeah, sorry, Sandy. But it's the classic show. All the music we know and love, and it's just a dance party on stage.
I've heard that this has been one of the most popular shows in the history that you've ever done.
It ranks
right?
#1 on the survey almost every year, and we're finally able to do it again. It's cycling through, and we have the cast that we want, so now we can produce it.
I was talking with the Muny's president not too long ago, Denny Reagan, and I mentioned that one of those memories I had of the Muny was seeing Pearl Bailey do Hello Dolly, and I couldn't remember the year, and he said it was 1968. It was the first year that Denny worked there, and he was not in the executive lounge then. Denny, I think, was like selling soda or something.
Denny's had every job. at the Muny.
1968.
Yeah.
But so anyway, Hello Dolly is back August 11th through 17th.
And it's a great way to end the season. It's all that music we know made famous from the movie with Barbra Streisand, and that Pearl Bailey played the role, Carol Channing played the role,
Right.
and now it's back to life on the Muny stage. It's huge, it's exciting, and it's fun.
It's one of my all-time favorites. I even rent the movie once in a while. It's one of those ones I never get tired of.
Yeah.
Well, the Muny is such an amazing place. You were talking about the largest theater of its kind. I think the exact seat number, if you have an exact count, something like 11,000?
Right at 11,000 with 1,450 free seats every night.
And it seems like to me that you're sold out most of the time, or you're pretty near capacity. That's a lot of people in a run.
That's a lot of people, and they're local. They're St. Louisans who come to experience St. Louis's theater. We're a civic theater. We were started for the community, and we will remain here just for the people of St. Louis.
Well, if Sandy Stevenson wants to really get her foot in the door, I know that there are opportunities for local people to be involved in the seasons. There are extras and chorus members.
Yeah,
and
auditions are open to the general public.
You do that once a
Whether you're
year,
a
or?
kid, teen, adult, we do it at the beginning of the year. Just pay attention to our website. We announce the auditions, and come on out and give it a shot.
You've got another really interesting group, Muny Kids and Muny Teens. And these are young people that I think they produce, or they are involved in their own shows and presentations.
Yeah, they have their own show that they do, but then they're involved in the productions on stage as well.
So like if you need a group of young people in a scene, it's them.
Exactly, like in Billy Elliot, the girls who are part of the ballet class will come from the Muny Kids. And they are probably the most talented, if not of kids in St. Louis, if not in the country. They are so amazing, so focused. Right now, one of our Muny kids is starring in the Lyric Opera's production of Sound of Music up in Chicago.
Really?
He's playing one of the Von Trapp boys.
That's impressive.
And one of our teens has gone on, well, if you watch The Voice, Tess Boyer, she was a Muny kid and a Muny teen. So they go on to do great things.
Wow, that's really incredible. You know, I encourage people to go to your website to find out everything they need to know about the Muny and more. And I went the other day, and I thought it was interesting. It might be useful for parents sometimes, even though I think everything the Muny does is pretty much appropriate for anybody of any age. I can't think of an exception. But you do have a resource for parents that, if they want to know about certain things.
We have our show guidelines, and those are there for parents to go, what is the show about? Is it appropriate for my child? Every child is different, every family is different. Sometimes questions will come up after seeing a show, and this way the parents aren't blindsided by
So
what they're going
check
to see.
the website.
Just check that website or call us.
And Larry, just briefly, what do you want to say about getting tickets?
Season tickets are on sale now. If you go through our website or down to the box office, we always say come on down because it's a great place to come. And then single tickets are on sale beginning May 31st, and we recommend getting them ahead of time. Season tickets are the best value. You can buy 4 shows and get 3 for free in certain sections.
So what we need to remember, it's June 16th. The Muny season opens with Billy Elliot.
Yes.
And we always look forward to it. Larry Pry, thank you so much for sharing what you know today.
Thank you, Steve. It's been
All
my pleasure.
behind-the-scenes stuff. And give Jennifer Holliday my regards.
I will do.
Okay, thanks a lot, Larry. I'm Steve Potter. Thanks for watching today, and join us next time on City Corner. Bye.